Welcome to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast. This podcast is dedicated to EAS employees of the U.S. Postal Service and members of the National Association of Postal Supervisors. So, pour yourself a cup of coffee and join us for today's episode. And now, here's your host, Robert Wakefield.
Good morning, Branch 32, and good morning, Naps family. Wherever you are listening to this podcast, thank you so much for doing so. Whether it's from California, Illinois, Ohio, you name it, New York, it's being listened to all over the country. I really do appreciate it. I'm Robert Wakefield, your host and the president of Branch 32. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, we've got a great show lined up for you again today, so go ahead and pour that first cup. This October, Nashville Post Office Credit Union is serving up more than just great rates. We're bringing the fun. On October 16th, celebrate International Credit Union Day with us. Enjoy a free lunch, and document shredding will be taking place from 11 to 2. Then swing by on October 28th for National Chocolate Day. We've got a sweet treat just waiting for you. And don't miss the Pumpkin Showdown the last week of October. Stop in and vote for your favorite decorated pumpkin. Get all the details at mpocu.org. The Nashville Post Office Credit Union, people helping people since 1925. And for our first cup this morning, I wanted to bring on a guest that we've had on the program before. She is the Tennessee State President out of Branch 947. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Donna Aaron. Donna, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
That is awesome to hear, and I hope things down in Chattanooga way is just going your way this fall season.
It is. The weather's nice and cool, and I'm enjoying it.
Well, that's good. That's good. So I'm calling this episode The Scanning Dilemma, and it's because you and I have seen some disciplines come about because of scanning issues. So
yes,
talk about one of the biggest ones that you've seen recently here in some of the things that's happening in Tennessee.
Well, I think everybody needs to understand that there's what they call a geofence around the post office. So if anything gets scanned, delivered, and it's not going to a post office box, it's going to be a problem.
Right. Yeah. Have you had any questions about that? The geofence, it sounds like this, invisible fence around the whole post office. If you scan anywhere close to that, you're going to get in trouble.
Exactly, you are, because it's going to show up that it was scanned at the post office.
Right. And so the geofence is an important thing for all of our supervisors and postmasters to remember and not to violate that, because what happens if they do?
Well, you're gonna get an investigative interview over it because you didn't actually attempt to deliver it. You didn't actually deliver it because it was scanned inside the area of the post office.
Right.
And that's going to be a problem. It's considered integrity issue, and they are going to probably discipline you for that. Unless it's a carrier where you've addressed the carrier doing it. And
right.
That's something they need to tell the carriers. You can't scan packages in the parking lot, in the post office, if it goes out on a route.
That's exactly right. And we've seen disciplinary actions taken against supervisors and postmasters because of this.
I'll tell you what, years ago when I started as a supervisor, my boss said to me, delayed mail is an issue. Mm-hmm. However, if you lie about it, they're going to try to fire you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So the integrity part, I think, is the most important scanning dilemma that our supervisors and postmasters are facing today. And one of the advice that I give to any supervisor, postmaster, don't scan anything. Don't put your number on it.
Right.
And so
there shouldn't be a time that a supervisor should be scanning anything unless they're out delivering the mail.
That's exactly right. Well, we've had some supervisors that will, the carrier will bring it back in undelivered and they'll quit on the spot, and then they scan them right there. I'm not scanning anything. It would be would it be? Let me ask you this: is it better to have a failure than have a scanning integrity issue?
Absolutely. It's better to have a failure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you can, especially if you can explain it, if you have a carrier that comes back and drops the mail and quits, that's a reason for why you have failures that day. Don't lie about it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so much easier they can't shoot you for a failure. Well, they can't shoot you for an integrity issue either, but the fact remains that if you have integrity issues in this area, they automatically think you have integrity issues in other areas.
Yes, they do. And that's the case that they try to make. If I can't trust you with scanning, I can't trust you with anything.
Right. So that seems to be a problem. What other issue do you see as a problem in a scanning dilemma?
Well, whenever, a carrier is out there and they can't find an address, I'm to understand that now there's a scan that they can use to bring the package back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all fine and good. That's a carrier issue.
Right.
But the issue that I see for managers, for postmasters, and for EAS is when you're scanning a package delivered or no access or whatever, you're scanning it inside the area of the post office, there's no excuse for that.
Right. I'm glad you brought up that no access scan. I pulled up the latest that I could find as a retired employee. June 2022 is when this stand-up talk came out. It's called No Access Scan. And in that stand-up talk, it says, never make this scan in the office. Delivery must be attempted each day. So there's the lesson on the no access scans, right?
Right. And you got to understand, as a customer, if the customer sees the package was attempted and they knew they were home, they're going to be upset.
Right. And one of the things that I think about scanning, and this is the dilemma for me, I don't think scanning was ever intended to be a got you program against supervisors and postmasters, even carriers. It's not a gotcha program. It's visibility to when the customer can expect their package. And yet sometimes I think the Postal Service turns those tides and accuses supervisors and postmasters of wrongdoing.
Well, they put so much pressure on supervisors and postmasters to get the mail delivered. Mm-hmm. And I understand, back in the day, it was a serious thing to delay mail.
Right.
And I think the post office still, to some degree, considers it a serious thing, not as much as they did back when you and I were on board, but it's still a serious thing. And because of that, they're going to always keep an eye on delayed mail. And I understand, they're going to give you a hard time about delayed mail.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you something. It's worse if you're trying to hide it.
Yeah, that's where the problem comes. So our advice to supervisors and postmasters would be what?
Don't do it. If you're not delivering mail, and, I've got some strong concerns about our managers and supervisors out delivering mail too. But if you're not delivering mail, don't be scanning packages.
Right. Exactly.
It is what it is. It's on your carrier. If they didn't make an attempt and they didn't scan it, you just need to deal with that carrier, period.
Mm-hmm. And so it's important that supervisors and postmasters keep their employees accountable as well.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And always keep in mind that you may think that nobody's going to know, but there are no secrets in the post office anymore.
Not
they have
anymore.
ways of tracking stuff that is quite amazing.
It really is. It really is amazing. So, in the next few minutes that we have left, what are some other things that you would advise supervisors and postmasters as far as scanning is concerned?
Just know that do it honestly. If the mail's delayed, the mail's delayed.
Mm-hmm.
Just, whatever reason, I know they're going to give you a hard time about it, but if it's delayed, it's delayed. Don't lie about it. Report it like you're supposed to. Call your input, call your, if you're a supervisor, call the postmaster, make them aware that you're not going to be able to get this delivered today.
Right. And I think that's a good point, Donna. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think that communication throughout the whole process is going to keep our employees, our NAPS employee members, from being disciplined over issues like this.
Absolutely. You've got to communicate with your upper management and let them know. Now they may do like one boss that I had who always told me I want it all. I would ask, if this situation happens, what action do you want me to take? And he would always say, I want it all. I want everything out of the building, no matter what. Well, that's unreasonable.
Right. Things do happen. That's for sure.
Things happen. And just make sure, like I said, you've communicated what's happened. You've let your boss know. And there's just going to be times that you cannot get the mail delivered. And there's no good reason to hide it.
Right. And it's important too that we stress this, and you and I stress this to everyone, that if you let your manager know, follow that up with an email and copy your home email on it. Yeah. So that you'll have a record that you let them know. So that's good. So good. Go ahead.
And Robert, that's something I always tell managers, especially if a manager gives you instructions that are not correct, make sure you email them and put it in writing what their instructions were. Exactly
right. All right. Well, Donna, it's been great having you on the show today. We'll have you on again real soon, and we'll talk again, okay?
All right. I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks so much. Want your savings to do more than just sit there? With a money market certificate from the Nashville Post Office Credit Union, you'll earn competitive returns while keeping your money safe and sound. You'll enjoy higher dividends than traditional savings, flexible terms to match your goals, and it's federally insured to give you peace of mind. It's smart, secure, and built for postal professionals who plan ahead. The Nashville Post Office Credit Union. People helping people since 1925. And for our second cup today, I want to talk a little bit of color with you. Not the colors of fall per se, but I want to talk about postal blue, that deep, steady shade that you see on mailboxes and uniforms and the trucks. Have you ever wondered why it's blue? Well, let's look at the history behind that. Believe it or not, those iconic mailboxes weren't always blue. Back in the day, around pre-1955, they were green, there were some red, white, and then green again. It was a fashion crisis, let me tell you. And then in 1955, the USPS went patriotic. They went red, white, and blue. But it wasn't until the 1970 Postal Reorganization Act that things really got official. USPS was rebranding. It was stepping into a new identity as a self-sustaining service. And with that came a new look called Postal Blue. Now, why blue? Blue was chosen for a reason. It's calm, it's trustworthy, and it's visible. And it stands out on street corners, but it doesn't shout at you. It says, we're here, we're steady, we deliver. It's also a branding move. Just like UPS has brown and FedEx has purple and orange, the USPS needed a color that said, this is us, and Postal Blue stuck. Well, today, Postal Blue is everywhere. 124,000 blue collection boxes across the country, letter carrier uniforms, postal trucks, even the light blue employee portal carries the theme. It's not just a name, it's definitely a vibe. So next time you drop that letter into that blue box, you just take a second and remember that you are a part of that legacy, 250 years strong. A legacy painted in a color that says, we're still here and we still care. So, there's your second cup color of the day. Thanks so much for listening to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast presented by the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. You know what to do now. I end every show this way. Share this with all your EAS friends, your NAPS family. Make sure they're listening to the podcast all over the country. I sure would appreciate that. All right. Go out there and have yourself a great weekend. And remember, every great weekend starts with a great cup of Joe. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast. Please note that the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of Robert Wakefield and do not necessarily reflect the views of the National Association of Postal Supervisors. We welcome your questions and comments, so send those to SaturdayCupofJoe@gmail.com.